beautiful and welcome back to my channel and welcome to this video that's going to be a battle of the berry palettes. We are going to check out some of my berry palettes, well all of my berry palettes, well the ones that are based around berries. Wow, this intro is really giving you everything. But it's going to be 8 different palettes. Some of them are my suggestions, some of them are your suggestions. I'm going to swatch them, I'm going to show you close-ups, and I'm going to let you know which ones is for you. Like which one of these could be the best palette for you. And if you have not been there before, if this is your first video here, hello, my name is Angie. I'm such a lover of beauty makeup. I love everything beauty makeup related. I especially love colorful things. So berries is like purple and red together. I love it. I'm wearing something very not berry today, but I'm just such a lover of makeup and such a lover of color. And if you want to see some more color in timeline, don't forget to subscribe because I upload 5 videos a week. I am filming this after I filmed this look for another video, and this video is coming up soon, probably next week. I will leave it in the description box, the things that I have on my face in case you are interested. But just know that this makeup look is coming up soon, and the reason why I didn't do the berries is because things have been a little bit crazy, like hectic behind the scenes in my life right now, so I'm sorry that I wasn't able to film a separate look for this video, but I thought I'd show you all the palettes. I have them here. There are 8 different palettes. I suggested this in a video when I was suggesting that I was gonna like compare the Natasha Denona Retro palette, which is one of them, and I was gonna compare it, wait, let me organize myself a little bit. I was gonna compare it with the Colourpop Orchid Not, which is another one of the berry palette, and another one that is a favorite, which is the She's in Parties by Melt Cosmetics. And these were the palettes that were my suggestions, and you gave me so many other ones, so here we are just doing a bunch of them. Why do I have this one here though? Maybe it's not 8 palettes, maybe it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Am I dreaming? Okay, I confused myself a little bit there. I accidentally grabbed the wrong palette. It's been a long day, so I'm just gonna go through all of these. I don't know the prices on the top of my head, so I will pop up the prices on the side as I talk about them, just so you can like see like the price point where these are. I did purchase, I would say I purchased like half of these and half of them I got in PR, but I will talk about that as well as we get there. Let's start with the one that started it all. That's not true, but this is the palette that got me thinking, why don't I do like a battle of the berries? Because I love the Natasha Denona Retro palette, but it is pretty pricey. I think it's like 65 or 69 or something around that. I got this as PR, which is mind-boggling to me that I ever got anything from Natasha Denona. I actually bought one of these myself as well, and I'm gonna give that one away in a future giveaway. So don't forget to subscribe because there's gonna be a giveaway where I'm giving one of these away. This is a stunning palette, and for me this is the perfect berry palette. And the reason why this is the perfect berry palette is because this one is a good mix of mattes and shimmers, and it also goes from really light to really dark, both in shimmers and mattes, and that is something that I really love. The shade that's called Maud in here, which is an almost white, like a super light, almost white pink. That matte color is incredible. On the lid, on the brow bone, in your inner corners. It's one of my favorite inner corner shades that I've discovered this year. It's so incredible. And there are some different textures when it comes to, some of the mattes are cream to powder. I love the cream to powder formula. And their shimmers are like straight up metallics. There are some very like sparkly metallics, and then there are like 1 or 2 satins as well. So I feel like this is just a very well-rounded palette. And if you only wanted to get one berry palette and you don't mind splurging a bit, this is the one I would recommend. I think that this is my favorite one because it's the most well-rounded one. But if you want to save some money, I would recommend the Orchid Not. It is not as well-rounded. First of all, it's smaller. I think these are 15, 16, 17, somewhere around that neighborhood. Again, I will pop up the price here. I was gonna buy this one myself, but actually Colourpop sent me the collection. Otherwise, I would have bought this myself. The thing that is not as well-rounded with this, the Retro palette also includes a couple of neutrals. Maybe you don't need that. If we're gonna talk about just berries, this one is just those purpley berries. It goes very dark and sultry, but you don't have any of those really matte light colors in this one. And the light shimmer, that's the first color in this palette, it is very light, but maybe not super light. So For me, this is a beautiful, wonderful palette, but it's not as well-rounded as a retro. It's also a lot less money, and it's also a lot less shades. So it makes sense. It makes sense. For me, I would team this one up with a pastel pink. It's the perfect for me. For me, that's perfect, but I will say the quality of this one is incredible. This is one of the best palettes that Colourpop has released this year. It is absolutely stunning. If you love berries and you are balling on the budget, or you just want to add some deeper berries to your collection, I cannot recommend this one enough. Yeah, I also got some requests if I could include the Wine and Only by Colourpop. I thought this was really interesting because for me, these are not necessarily berry colors, but I will say like they're more on the maybe reddish berry like berries. Why do we say berries and we mean like purpley reds? Who are we talking about? There are so many other colors of berries, but maybe this is leaning a little bit more on the reddish side. Still, this palette is absolutely incredible. It came out late last year, so this is almost 1 year old, and I bought this palette myself, and this is very, like, the quality is incredible. If you are more into the red leaning berries and you're balling on a budget, absolutely stunning. The same thing with this one though as with the other one. This is more like mid-tone and darker colors. So if you also want something that's more of a contrast in it, this one doesn't have that, but again, who needs that when it's this good quality? I also got some requests if I could include the Knoblab Wild Berry palette. This is a really good quality palette, and this is maybe a little bit more well-rounded because this is more options. It also does not have a light matte color. It is what it is. This one has a duochrome that is a pink to like a turquoisey teal. It's called Alchemy 2.0. It's absolutely incredible. I will say that this is well-rounded in another direction because this one, even though it only has 6 shades, gives you options. Do you want to go more on the clayey, warm pinky side? Do you want to go more on the orchid, like bright purple side? Do you want to include the duochrome in here and give it that teal pop, or do you want to have the bucolic baby, the one that is like a metallic pink with like shimmers? It is more like a high pigmented, like it has more of a base color than this one that is more of a topper. There's just a bunch of different formulas within a 6-pan palette, and this is incredible quality, and I cannot recommend this one enough. This is probably my favorite palette from Nabla. I think that this is just A+ palette, and if you have an easier access to Nabla than you do to Colourpop, I would definitely recommend this one. Also keep your eye open for this palette on Black Friday, because Nabla and Beauty Bay, where Nabla is sold, usually has really good Black Friday sales. So if you were eyeing this one and you're living in Europe and you want to have a berry palette, I would recommend this one on Black Friday. That is my thoughts on that one. There's also been some requests for me to include the Berries by Juvia's Place. This is a little bit more on the pinky leaning side. This is not as like purple leaning side as the other ones that I've showed you. Well, maybe it reminds me a little bit of this one then, but just a little bit more pinky leaning. But it is called the berry one, so okay, this is a really good palette. It's one of my favorite palettes from Juvia's Place. I really love this one. Again, it does not go very light, but it's only 6 shadows. It's not that hard to be like, again, if you're buying something like this, how much are these? I think these 6 pans are $12. I think that the 6 pans are $12. Again, the price would have been here somewhere. The metallic red. This is a metallic red that's more in the tone of like the Wine and Only palette. It's an incredible, sexy, dark wine red metallic. It is so good. It's incredibly sexy. Oh, it is just so beautiful. I really like this palette. If I was going for a berry look, I honestly maybe wouldn't pick this one because it is more pinky red leaning, but it is still a really good palette. There's a lot of background noise. I don't know if you hear it, and if you do, I'm not gonna say I'm sorry, but that's maybe why I'm losing a little bit of focus, because there's a lot of things going on in the background. But again, do keep an eye open for a Black Friday sale. Juvia's Place usually has really good Black Friday sales, and this one might go on sale. I think that this is my favorite of their 6-pan palettes. I think it's an amazing palette. Okay, let's talk then about the She's Seen Parties. This is my favorite palette from Elle Cosmetics. I've not, as I'm filming this, tried their holiday palette, but I will soon. I'll talk about that in tomorrow's video. Keep an eye open for that. This is an incredible palette. I really loved the She's Seen Parties stack that they had, and they have these shades here, and they just added a couple more. This one goes from really light to really dark, both in the matte and the shimmer, and I like that. The only thing that I feel is not perfect with this palette is that these three shades here, the metallic dark shades, are pretty similar, and I wish that one of them had been a little different. These two are incredible. This is like a peachy topper shade, which is also incredible on the cheeks. Should I show you? Let me show you. It's called Skeleton Kiss, and it is just an incredible highlighter as well. It is like a peachy pink. There it is on the cheeks. Of course, I had a little highlighter on before, but you could see that it's just adding even more highlight and just a little bit of the peachy pink sheen. It is a really, really pretty shade. You can use it as any corner highlight. You can use it as anything like that. And you also have a light matte. So if you want to do an all matte look, you can still do that and still get like contrast. This is the good melt quality. This palette is very high quality. It is very, very pretty, but I do think I prefer the retro one over this one, mainly because it is a little bit more well-rounded. But again, if you see this one on sale, this palette is incredible quality. Really, really do love it. This shade here that's called Mean Streak is just one of the sexiest, darkest, yummiest. Such a beautiful color. For that color alone, Mean Streak, I have reached for this palette so many times to complete a look just to get that Mean Streak in, because that one is incredible. This was a palette that you asked me to include. This is the Magnifique palette by Sigma. This is the holiday palette. It's really cute. It's a small 6-pan palette like this. This is the holiday palette from Sigma. This one is I would say, a half berry, half neutral-ish, depending on how you look at it. The two berry, like really berry shades at the end, it's called Myth and Obsession. One is a metallic and one is a matte. I will say this palette swatched like a dream. Here's my full confession. This palette is one of the newest palettes in my collection. I have not been able to try this on my eyes yet. So I'm just basing these like thoughts on the swatches. Swatched amazing. Swatch just like the other Sigma palettes swatch, and the other Sigma palettes are really good quality. So if you just wanted to get a small compact thing, do check this one out, because Sigma has this in a Christmas set together with a brush, and I think it's a pretty good deal. Sigma brushes are amazing. There's also like a blush highlighter set with a highlighter brush. There's also a set like that. So, and also like if you wanted to eye this one and wanted to get even a better deal, check it out on Black Friday, or wait till after Christmas and see if there's any left. Usually things that are left after Christmas get a really crazy like discount. So if you were just eyeing to get some berry to add and wanted to have some neutral, something smaller, maybe this could be a good option. For me, if I want a berry palette, I want something that's more than this, but you were asking me to include this one, so I did. You were also asking me to include this one, even though this one is discontinued. But maybe you can see this as comparisons, because I have swatched now all of these palettes in the same lighting at the same like day, and that's why you see some staining on some of the swatches as well, because I swatched all of these back to back. And maybe now that I'm showing you comparison, like just by seeing the swatches now of the KVD Beauty Lolita Palette, you can see like whether or not you think that this is similar enough. If you own this one, if you missed out on this one, maybe there's something else that you could get that's similar. I have already in a video compared the Lolita palette to the She's in Parties, and I will say, what the biggest difference of course is that the Lolita palette was an all matte palette. Only matte shades, and for that reason of course this one is great at going from light to dark, and it also goes from cool to warm, which is something I also really like. But of course it doesn't have any shimmer options. These are only mattes. If you were looking for berry mattes, like you were wanting really good berry mattes, I would say either go with the She's in Parties, the Retro palette, or the Orchid Not from Colourpop. Like those are like incredible mattes. There are true berry colors if you felt like you missed this one. I think that this was a really nice palette. It's a bit older in my collection. I'm actually letting go of this one. I have fished this out of my declutter pile. You will see that video coming in a bit. I've already filmed it because I need to get my ducks in a row, because December is going to be really stressful for me. But here's what I would say. If you wanted a very well-rounded palette, I would say go with the retro one. If you wanted something smaller but price wasn't the issue, I would say the She's in Parties, especially if you can find it on a deal. If you are in Europe, I would say the Knoblab one is probably easier to get a hold of, and you could probably get a really good Black Friday deal on this one. Of course, the retro palette will be available in Europe as well, but if you didn't want to spend the 65, these palettes are really affordable, and if you're living in the US, either of these will be really easy to get a hold of, and they're really, really nice and good quality. The Orchid Colourpop is probably my favorite, and if you wanted something really small, maybe holiday themed, or you wanted to get a brush with it, or you could find a really good deal, I would recommend this one. Or if you only wanted like that 1 or 2 berry shades, if you don't want a full palette, you just want a pop of it, sure, this one could be really nice. But yeah, those are my thoughts. I hope that this video was helpful. I hope you liked the swatches. I hope you liked the breakdown. Do you own a berry palette that wasn't included here that is your favorite? Do you feel like I'm missing out? Clearly, I don't need any more berry palettes, but I mean, you know, for science, let me know. Hit me up. What are your favorite berry palettes? I hope you liked the video. Don't forget to subscribe, and I will see you again tomorrow for the new makeup releases with some really exciting news. So I'll see you then. Bye!